have minutes because I forgot about them. So that's not happening.
Isn't that a great idea?
And the primary job of this meeting is to begin to dig a little bit deeper into the data from the 3 surveys. So I did some work on trying to make that data a little bit more accessible, because with all the 3 different surveys in different ways, we kind of asked the same question but didn't really. It was just too overwhelming. So rather than take out the 3rd one that we were going to do today, what I did was I separated stuff into, took the charge, and it was successes, desires, and then improvement ideas and strategies. So I separated them into those 3 things, figuring that that's how we would organize the report. And within that, there were, let's see, there were in the successes, there were two areas that seemed to separate themselves. And one of them was the idea, have we been successful in creating a unified district? What does that feel like? And we asked those questions, I think, pretty much of all 3 groups. And then the other success was communication, in the sense of people are feeling well communicated with, for the most part. But so those were the 2 things that just rose to the top in terms of successes. So I did some work with that. I'll show you that. And then in desires, there were interests and communications, which was the overall, interest. So what came up out of desires were what people were interested in hearing about or doing or participating in the schools. And then this communication was taking communication to the next level. The folks that were saying that they were excited they were going to the portal, and what kinds of things did they want to be informed about, and the information that we asked about what's your preferred way that you want to be communicated with, which ultimately will cross-reference with the SU plan. And then, I guess maybe there was just one in the desires.
Restructuring.
Right, but, and then in the improvement ideas, we had facilities, which was really short. People were willing, it looked like people for the most part were willing to spend money but they were generally satisfied with the facilities. And then there was restructuring. Let's see one. So there's a couple of different ways. So what I did was I went through and grabbed all the questions, for example, in improvement ideas and restructuring. It's in 3 sections. There's faculty and staff. Later on, you'll see family, and then you'll see community. And I pulled the questions that I thought related to the overall restructuring question. So this was faculty and staff. What key factors might the RSUD board consider if exploring potential school restructuring, particularly if it could expand educational and social opportunities for students? And then I cut and pasted all of the comments. The next one, and it's still the faculty and staff, and still about restructuring. What's your primary challenge in improving student learning? I made an executive decision, because I assumed and was, when I was looking at some of the responses, the multiple grades and things like that came up in that. Then what ideas do you have to strengthen and improve our unified district? And then we go to family. And the family questions are similar, but not exactly the same. And when we were asking for comments, I cut and pasted all the comments. So I did that for all three sets of surveys and for all three categories of successes, desires, and improvement strategies. So the question is, the two biggest ones are restructuring and the communication one as one of the desires, the interests that people have in terms of how they might want to interact with the school and the kinds of things that they'd like to see happen is a big one, and the restructuring one is a big one. And so my idea tonight was, and I will take what you want to do, was to take those two and put you in small groups, your favorite thing. Put you in small groups and have you look at it together. And one, a step farther than what we were doing last time was really looking at where are the things that connect across all three of the surveys. And so what kinds of things might you be able to conclude as a result of that, or what observation might you have? And then we'll record it on chart paper. If we do two, one group will get one, the other group will get the other. The chart paper will happen. We'll halfway through, we'll post the chart paper and take a look, and then trade. The other group will go through the one that's already been done to see if they come up with the same thing, or they don't believe that one comment was well supported by the evidence in the summary or in the surveys or those kinds of things. So basically you have two sets of eyes looking at it, but at a slightly different time. My gut said that the thing that you were the most interested in, I may be wrong, was in the restructuring. So if you just wanted to focus on that piece, then we could do that in a similar way where I would give both, we'd still be in small groups because it's too big a group to start with that. But it'd be the same thing. Both groups would go away, and then you would both do chart paper on restructuring, and then we would bring those back to the large group and have a large discussion about what people were, coming away with in terms of conclusions and ideas. So talk to me about what you think you want to do.
I do have one question.
Sure.
As hard as I tried, I could not get the results, the current results of how many people responded ultimately
To
to the surveys in general.
Okay.
At our last meeting, I believe it was 81 and 25, if I'm not mistaken. And has that number increased? Has it just stayed the same?
I think it's 89. I can look it up.
Yeah, I can look it up right now.
Easy.
It was a
Oh,
couple more, but not many more.
No.
Okay,
it
so
wasn't
pretty
very
much,
good.
okay.
Family was 27. I think that's pretty. And
Okay,
that's
I don't need the exact numbers.
Okay.
I just wanted
It
to,
wasn't like it
You didn't get
ballooned
40
like
more.
it, right.
It was some more.
see, I was away from my computer. You're
It was
lucky.
some more. So,
You would have just kept filling it out.
Talk out. What would you like to do?
So the choices are either we're all focused on the restructuring
Yep.
this evening, or restructuring and,
Communicate.
Interest in communication about, how do we improve our communication and what do people want to be communicated with about. There was some, it was interesting, the things about understanding school board things were very different from one survey to another. So those kinds of things have to be kind of looked at together to make some determinations about what recommendations we might make to fix that. Katie?
I don't know what I want to say yet. I'm not sure.
I think the difference from this time to last time is it's all three stakeholders right next to each other, so you can see what each group
Yeah,
of
so it's just like a
stakeholders.
general summary of.
It's people's actual responses, but it's like broken up into like, here's all the community responses about areas of improvement. Here's all the faculty and staff areas of improvement. Here's all the family areas of improvement. So you can see it all
Yeah, you're
side by
down.
side
Okay,
versus
yeah.
by stakeholder.
I didn't do any summarizing whatsoever. All I did was I cut and pasted until I thought I was going to throw my computer out. And then at one point I was afraid I was in the wrong survey. It's down. But yeah, so I've done no summarize. This is just the raw data. And what I was trying to do was to get it into a slightly different format so it was easier, rather than having all three surveys out in front of you and you trying to flip through to find the questions that were connected to questions from the other survey. I basically did that for you.
Okay, and then so the question, sorry, our task responsibility now is to decide whether or not we want to break it up and talk about.
Do you want, yeah, so today what we're gonna do is we're just gonna dig deeper
Okay.
and really look at it across all three, any of those questions
Yeah.
across all three. Question is, do you want to, as a large group, and start out in small groups and just do restructuring? Or do we want to do accomplish restructuring and desires, interest, and communication as well? Or did somebody have something else that they wanted to do instead? I've got facilities, which was easy. Successes were easy. Those were unified.
I'm inclined to want to get as much done as possible, but I
Okay.
don't want to not give something the attention that it should have. If it
Got
feels like that's the bigger thing, then we should dive deeper, and that makes
Yeah.
more sense. So I don't want to make less of it
That's
if
fine.
it's a bigger thing, but if we can accomplish more,
Like dividing and
About that.
conquering, yeah.
Yeah, these are the two biggest ones. The other ones were, and while you're working, I will rework and make certain that I'm making, what I've shared with you is true. But these were, and well, you can certainly have we can give copies of these, what I did for people to look at home if they want. But those were pretty obvious. There wasn't a lot of difference in what people, a couple outliers, which we'll talk about, but in general, these were the two that had the most, I felt like it had the most information that was either surprising or, yeah.
and in this structure, if we looked at both, it would be groups with one, and then we'd be swapping anyway. So
Exactly.
everybody would be
Yeah,
doing both.
And then we would bring them back and talk
Yeah.
about it as
So that seems.
I know you guys like to talk
productive
about
time.
it as a big group, it's just, when it gets this deep, it's hard to start there, there's too much stuff. And it's gonna take you a while to there's markers, you can mark this up any way that you want. But you're basically just looking for statements and conclusions or questions or things that the surveys have confirmed for you, I guess. And then we'll go from there, yes.
Sorry, so we're taking the survey and we're doing kind of similarly to what we did last week last time, where we took the actionable call out pieces. And then do you want us, while we're in those small groups, to then come up as a small group with what we would recommend
Yep.
to address them? So we're doing both of those things in our smaller groups, okay.
And these are different than last time, that you only were dealing with one survey.
Right.
You got all three surveys.
Yeah.
So how do you organize yourselves and talk about
Sorry,
it?
I missed the first part of the.
Yep,
answer.
no,
Sorry, I was just trying to
no,
find-
it's all good. Okay, well, I'm gonna, I'll just put one on one, I won't tell you, so you don't know where you're starting. But we just need some kind, to do some recording, and let's see, are we prepared to stay till 7?
If you have to.
If we have to, okay, that's okay. Let's see where we are in a half an hour. It'll probably take you 20 minutes to read it. And use it as your own notes if you want to write things on it or highlight stuff so that when you talk about it with each other, you've got it there. There's no easy way to do that, so. Okay.